Joe, what do you see?
Reggie White.
This year, we at Sega Sports really studied the players.
Reggie White.
We learned some interesting things.
Reggie White.
Then we took that knowledge and created a new passing game. And a new speed burst. So, how far did we go to understand the players? Maybe too far. NFL Football 94 starring Joe Montana. Real teams, real players from Sega Sports.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Player One Start. In my previous video, I went ahead and had the NES go ahead and pick its prediction on who was going to win this year's Super Bowl, and the results of that were quite interesting. If you haven't seen that video and you want to avoid spoilers, I would go ahead and watch that video right now. Otherwise, if you're still watching, here were the results of that video. It turns out that not only did the NES pick the correct winner, they got the winning score right, but unfortunately they did not get the 49ers score right. Still, that is quite an accomplishment for a game from 1991. However, I did have another question that I'd like to answer, and that is, can other consoles predict the outcome of the Super Bowl as well as the NES can? So I went ahead and went through my collection and found a random assortment of football games that I have. And these range from anything, starting with the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, and ending around 2001 with NFL 2K1 and Madden 2001 for the N64, along with a few games scattered in between. And to keep things a bit more interesting, I'm actually going to have the brands of Sega and Nintendo face off to see who can predict the Super Bowl more often than the other. I am going to note that all of my rules from the first video still apply, except for one case which I'll mention when that happens. And I will note that all of the footage captured was before the Super Bowl actually aired. In fact, this whole episode was supposed to air last week, but I ended up getting sick and was not able to complete it in time. Well, better late than never. Let's go ahead and get started with the Super Nintendo versus the Sega Genesis. So here we have Tecmo Super Bowl released for the Super Nintendo in 1993. So again, these are going off of different stats, if it actually makes any difference, than on the 1991 version we used on the NES. Let's go ahead and take a look at the intro. Alright, getting started. I had no issue again getting the computer to play the computer. After I found the two teams, I went ahead and started the game. And I had the option of choosing different weather. I just went ahead and chose clear just by default, but I guess the weather was clear because it was a dome stadium. Again, just like before, we're going to go ahead and let this game play out a little bit, and I'll skip ahead towards the end after the first couple plays. One thing I will note is that I do notice that the upgraded graphics on this do make the game look a little bit better. However, I'm not as nostalgic for this version because I did grow up with the Tecmo Super Bowl game, and that's the one I played a lot more often.
Ready, set, put, 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 put.
Touchdown!
I like the little halftime show they have. But anyway, as you can see, it ended up in a tie, so this game ended up going into overtime. And this was the final play of the game. Eventually, the San Francisco 49ers got close enough to score a field goal. And that is what ended the game. So unfortunately, the Super Nintendo was not as accurate as the regular Nintendo, even though it's playing the same game, just with updated rosters. Well, now we're going to move on to the Sega Genesis, and for this one I chose my personal favorite football game from this console.
NFL Football 94.
And I gotta tell you, I find that very nostalgic in the opening. But anyway, going through here, I went ahead and set the same conditions and just left everything else on default.
Welcome to the game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a beautiful day here in Kansas City. The kicking team comes on.
One thing I do like about this game is that it actually will call the game as it's being played. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from this game before we see the results.
And he's got it to the 10, down on the 17-yard line. A gain of 13 on the return. A 61-yard kick. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Quick out. Underthrown, incomplete. 2nd and 10. San Francisco sets up in the 4-3. Montana set up in the shotgun. The pitch to the back. Straight up the middle. He's dumped at the 21-yard line. It's 3rd down and 6 for the Chiefs at their own 21. The Chiefs come to the line. Man in motion. He fires over the middle. Complete to the 40. He's down. 22-yard gain on the pass. Over the left. Complete to the receiver. To the 40, 30, 20. Turns on the speed. Touchdown. Incredible. The 49ers lead with the score 6-0. The 49ers set up for the extra point. And the kick is on its way. Yes. San Francisco lines up for the field goal. The kick is up. Yes, incredible. The score 31-28. The game is over. The San Francisco 49ers win. The San Francisco 49ers slipped by the Kansas City Chiefs. With the score, the Niners 31, the Chiefs 28.
Well, it looks like neither one of these consoles was able to outdo the original Nintendo. So we're going to move on to the next generation, and we're going to have them face off to see if any of them can predict the Super Bowl in the same way the NES did.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Starting off with the N64, I decided to go ahead and go with, well, the only football game I currently own for this console. Strangely enough, the first time I played this game was actually on the PlayStation 2. And for an N64 title, this actually looks pretty good in terms of graphics and sound, so I'm actually pretty pleased with this presentation.
Thanks, JB. Well, John, looks like we're all set.
Yep, both of these teams look ready to go.
Maybe I admire these graphics a bit more since I've been staring at the 16-bit graphics for so long.
Call it in the air.
But anyway, since this game should also call itself, I am again just going to have you watch some of the highlights and then we'll see the ending.
It's tails.
Number 32 waits to receive the kick. First and 10. Ball on the 30-yard line.
Set, but hot.
Pass is right.
3,
Here comes the kicking team.
Cut! Cut!
The kick is up. The kick is good.
Cut! Cut!
Back to throw. Pass is right. The pass is intercepted.
Cut!
The kick is up. The kick is good.
Alright, so this is where I talked about the criteria being a little bit altered for this version, and that's because, for some reason, the rest of this game got corrupted. And even though I can tell you the results, I won't be able to show you them on screen. And the results were that the 49ers beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, the N64 did not predict the Super Bowl correctly. You know, that's one sound I really do miss, because whenever we play these games now, either through emulation or even on modern PlayStation consoles, that beginning is still missing. But anyway, we're back to Tecmo Super Bowl, as that is again the only football game I own for the PlayStation at this time. I know at one point in time I owned Madden 2000 and I had planned to use that version, but since I can't find it, this is the one I ended up using.
Tecmo Super Bowl! The San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
What I find kind of interesting is that this game kind of combines the modern 3D football game that we know with the side-scrolling football game of the past. And I actually ended up enjoying this game just a little bit because I tried this out after I had the computer play, and it's actually not too bad. But anyway, let's go ahead and see some of the plays of this game before we take a look at the results.
Yard field goal. It's good! T formation. Blue 24. Blue 24. Touchdown! Kansas City!
Well, here we go. Finally, we have a contender. This game actually did predict the correct winner, but it didn't get either of the scores right. Even still, I'll go ahead and take it.
What a fantastic game!
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Alright, and last out of this generation, we're going to take a look at the Sega Saturn. And again, the only game I own for it at this point is Madden 97.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Madden NFL 97. Hi, everyone. Welcome to John Madden Football.
This is kind of why I wanted to use Madden 2000 on the PS1, so you can tell the difference in the graphics a bit more. However, the graphics on this game aren't necessarily too bad. They are a little bit chunky, but nothing too bad from this time period.
That is the kind of thing that drives an offensive coordinator nuts.
Oh yeah, and that's the kind of commentary I remember from this game. A lot of random, generic feedbacks from John Madden.
You know what caused that interception? The quarterback watched the receiver all the way.
And fast forwarding into the end of the game, you can see that the Kansas City Chiefs actually had a last-ditch effort on their last play of the game, but unfortunately they ran out of time and the San Francisco 49ers won. So again, not another accurate prediction. Alright, so even though we have a winner in that generation, I decided to go ahead and show a couple of more consoles. I did the Dreamcast with NFL 2K1 from Sega Sports, and just taking a look at the graphics and sound here, it's actually, a bit more updated than the last generation. And fast forwarding to the end, you can see that this game actually went into double overtime, but again, the San Francisco 49ers won. So unfortunately, this is also not an accurate prediction. And for the last console, I decided to feature a console that has not yet been featured on my channel, and that is the Panasonic 3DO. I decided to go ahead and feature this console because the developer of Madden, Electronic Arts, was very critical in the development of this console, and I decided to go ahead and show it on its native platform.
Hi everyone, welcome to John Madden Football. Well, the game's finally here. The teams are taking the field and they're about ready to kick it off. Let's take a look at both teams. Here's how they match up.
San Francisco 49ers. Call heads or tails.
Okay, here's the opening kickoff. Everyone should be ready.
And despite some lengthy loading times that I am editing out for this video, I actually don't think this game is too bad in terms of its presentation. The graphics are above par for what I would consider a game of this time frame to be. This came out in around 1993, the same time as Tecmo's Super Bowl would have come out for the Super Nintendo. And seeing this having a full 3D perspective and operating at a decent frame rate is actually kind of impressive for this time frame. Unfortunately, that didn't help us for our purposes, because again, the 3DO did not predict the correct winner for this year's Super Bowl.
Hey, thanks for playing. This is John Madden, saying goodbye for EA Sports.
So aside from the original NES, we took a look at 7 different consoles in this video. And out of all of those, only one was able to predict the winner of this year's Super Bowl, and that was the Sony PlayStation with Tecmo's Super Bowl. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this kind of retrospective look at some of the football games that came out, because I don't feel that these games actually find a lot of admiration or recognition nowadays, because usually for sports games we're looking for what is the latest and greatest. That said, that's actually going to wrap it up for this video. Remember, if you like what you see, please hit that like and subscribe button, share with a friend. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned because I have more content coming. I'll see you in the next one. If you like this video and you'd like to help out with future projects on this channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Also, if you enjoy the content of this channel, please remember to click on this subscribe button. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.